All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. My name is Gabe Long, and today I am joined by a couple of great experts, Bhargava from our office engineering team, as well as Josh from Solace IT Solutions, who is one of our partners who has really dug into this product with us for the last, since February-ish, right? To help kind of understand a little bit more, push us on where we can improve from a development standpoint as well as a go-to-market standpoint. So really glad that these guys are both here. And so this is kind of the under the hood session. So we're not going to cover a lot of value prop. We're actually going to cover a lot more tech. And so these guys are going to really unpack it, and hopefully you guys will walk out of here with a good understanding of how to deploy it, how to manage it, and then as a result, you'll be able to talk about how we think about this product. Quick agenda, couple questions. What the heck is it? Who's it for? How do I deploy and manage it? We're going to cover, 4 things. I think reporting is on the slide, but I think that shouldn't have been on the slide, so we'll take that off. And then where do we go from here? So if you are not on Microsoft 365 Business today, it is available as public preview. And so if you go out to the website, it says, hey, contact sales. I'm going to actually give you a link that you can bypass and sign up for the preview today, right? So you can just drop right into the sign-up flow. If you're an existing Office 365 customer, you just add it on to your existing tenant and swap things out. So if you're on Business Premium, no end-user impact. If you're on E3, it's going to reinstall Office for you. That's it. So first, I want to jump into what the heck is this thing? What is the new thing called Microsoft 365 Business? I've gotten a bunch of questions, and I'm just going to run through them. First, is this Secure Productive Enterprise for SMB? No. Secure Productive Enterprise is a licensing construct. This is actually a product. And so I want to convey that. When Satya talked about Office 365 and Windows 10 and Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite, those are 3 disparate products, and those were brought together in Secure Productive Enterprise. We're actually building an actual solution, an actual product here, right, which is new and unique for us. We're really excited about it. The next one is, does it include Windows, right? I get this one a lot because we've said, hey, it's Office and Windows and EMS. No, you actually have to have Windows 10 Pro as a license on your machine in order to be able to use it, right? So you step up from Windows 10 Pro into this thing called Windows 10 Business. Bhargava is going to talk to you guys a little bit around that and what you have to do that. And if you have Home on your PCs, those can't join to AD anyway, so you got to upgrade into Pro. So I know that's $100 to step up for each PC. If you're buying from retail, there's a good chance that your device is on Home. But if you're buying from one of your partners, from CDW or Zones or from Solace, then you're going to get a Pro device. Okay? Does it include Intune? No. It does not include Intune. We are taking a bunch of capabilities, and I think these guys are going to talk about specifics on that. We're bringing those capabilities into the product, but no, you're not getting full Intune. You're not licensed for full Intune. Okay? To that end, does it include EMS, right? Azure Active Directory Premium is in EMS. No, we only have one feature from AAD, and as I said, we're bringing the best from those different products into this single solution that's designed for small business. I know I'm painting a very bleak picture, but actually the product is really exciting, right? And I just want to pull off all of the misconceptions that we have had over the last several months since we announced, just so that we can kind of break that down, and these guys will build it back up and show you what's really in it. And then do you have to migrate from Office 365? As I said at the start, if you are an existing Office 365 customer, really easy to layer this on top of, especially for the preview. You do not have to perform any data or tenant migration. Very seamless to move from Business Premium into Microsoft 365 Business. And if you are on E3 and you go to Microsoft 365 Business, it will reinstall your Office applications. Also, you'll go from an unlimited mailbox down to a 50 gig mailbox and a few other features, right, as you step down on the Office side. And then this last one is, did we just rebrand Office 365? Nope, we sure didn't. This is actually bringing together productivity, device management, and security into this single solution that is easier to deploy, and Office 365 will continue on. And so really when we think about it and talk about it, this solution is really designed to empower employees with always-on security, safeguard your business, simplify IT management, and it's that single solution, comprehensive single solution that's designed for small business. So when we talk about achieve more together, anywhere it matters, always-on security, and simplified for business, all of these capabilities that we're going to talk about today are going to explain what that is. Now, you might be asking, hey, is this for me? So we have a very simple decision tree to help you with that. And actually, here, if I swap here, let me actually build this out. First, you have to figure how many employees do you have. If you have more than 300, we're going to immediately point you to Microsoft 365 Enterprise. Then, if you need legal hold, if you need e-discovery, you need to access Office apps via terminal services, you need cloud voice, right? You're probably going to want Microsoft 365 Enterprise. If not, you have to ask yourself this next question, and there's a whole lot within this question, and Josh is going to unpack that for us. If you require on-prem AD, and we'll talk about what are the reasons that you would require it, and then also how you could potentially look at moving away from that. If you do need that, then yes, you have to move to M365 Enterprise. If you can get away from Microsoft, or get away from AD, then you should be able to move to Microsoft 365 Business. And then this last piece. This one's a little interesting. If you have, if you're buying devices for your organization, okay, today, and you want full MDM capabilities for those devices and not app protection, we'll talk a little bit about that, then you're probably going to want Microsoft 365 Enterprise. However, the whole value in what we're doing here is protecting that company data across devices, whether it's company-owned or personal-owned. Assuming all these things are no, and you have less than 300 seats, you're going to be a good candidate for Microsoft 365 Business, okay? And I know that Kirk and Catherine were talking about this co-management capability between on-prem AD and management from the cloud. We're going to look to unpack that as part of this solution, but it's going to take us a little bit to deconstruct that technology and bring that into the small business in a very simple way. Now, typically, this next bit is where we go into a demo. To demo it is really easy, it is really simple, and it's like 15 different toggles. And so rather than me demoing it, I have a quick video because we wanted to get to some of the under the hood stuff. I have a customer who has actually done this and deployed this out to his organization. So he's going to walk through, talk us through the first run experience on how he has set up and configured Microsoft 365 Business. And then Josh is going to come up and talk to you guys about some of the identity challenges.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm the Director of IT at TransBlue. I've been using Microsoft 365 Business, and I want to show you how you can get set up today. It's really easy to get started. Just log into the admin portal and start the setup wizard. There are a few steps to configure, and you'll be on your way. Once you're onboarded with your domain, users, and DNS settings, you have a couple of steps left to protect your company data across devices. Next, I'm going to show you how to protect your work files on mobile devices. You can customize the settings that get applied to all of your users' devices. You can also manage how users access the Office apps. You can enforce a PIN or fingerprint to access the app. You can even block users from copying content from those apps, such as Outlook, into other non-Office programs, like Notes on the iPhone. Now, we just need to help secure your Windows 10 PCs. I can enforce Windows Defender to always be on to protect against malware. I can even prevent users from downloading apps from the Windows Store. The great thing about these settings is it helps to customize the desktop experience for your end user, while maintaining a consistent security profile to reduce your risk. We can also save time on deploying new PCs by configuring the Office apps to get automatically installed. That's really all you have to do to get going on Microsoft 365 Business. Now, before you go, I want to show you how to configure different policies for different groups of people. In this instance, my executive team wants to play Minecraft while traveling on an airplane. I can configure a profile from the admin console and apply it to an Office 365 security group that is already set up. It's quick and easy to do. Thank you for watching, and get started with Microsoft 365 Business today.
All right, let's talk about some identity. Identity, as you guys know, is a very, very important part of how the Office 365, Microsoft 365 suite comes together, how it works, how we bring all the pieces in, and how we kind of interact it with your organization, right, or the tenant that you're working with. So if you look back 20 years, right, Microsoft's been saying for 20 years, hey, you have 10 people or more in your organization, you need Active Directory. You need to have a local Active Directory, local domain controller. You need to be able to have that to manage all aspects of your business. That is what is required. You know, that is their recommendation. So we're kind of getting away from that, right? Now we're moving into this cloud infrastructure, right? And we're saying, well, we no longer need that on-premise Active Directory. We don't need those dependencies on the local server, right, for a small business. And we don't need, you know, the restraints that it brings that gives us, you know, with a single server and a single location and a single internet connections, and it kind of chokes the business out, right? So what this solution gives us with using the Azure Active Directory is it gives us, you know, the full enterprise class identity solution for a small business. You know, one user has all these great benefits, right? Another great thing is if you have Office 365 or any of the Microsoft online services, SharePoint, Exchange, in any of those solutions, you already have Microsoft 365 Business. You already have Azure AD, right? So you already have that solution. So when you go to implement Microsoft 365, the identity piece is already taken care of. That hard part of getting there is already done. So that's a big benefit for a lot of people that have already made that adjustment to Office 365. So what all does it give us, right, when we get there? At the end of the day, the benefits that it gives us are it's going to give us one single username, password, that's going to give us our licensing for Windows 10, Office 365, all of our online Office apps, Edge browser, Internet Explorer. It's all going to be there. It's one single identity. That identity it's so much easier from an admin perspective to communicate that to an end user because it's simple to say, hey, your username is your email address and your password. Well, what do I log into my computer with? Your email address and your password, right? So you've got that single piece of identity there. From the management side, it's easy because you are only managing one identity as well. You have one place that you turn everything off. You can restrict access. You can change a password. You're not doing it in 2 or 3 different systems, on-prem, online. You know, you're only doing it in one spot. And again, with the enterprise class identity solution that Microsoft provides, it's very, very fast. Password changes are instantaneous almost. So it's really a great solution, not only for the end user, but also for the admin as well. Now, with identity, it does present some challenges for us as an admin, right? The number one challenge that I found in implementing this solution for my customers is user profiles, okay? When you have a solution and you're changing the identity from one solution to another, which is most likely a local Active Directory domain user to a Azure AD domain user, what happens with the profile, right? Everybody has their documents and their settings and their user and their desktop and their blah, 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 all those wonderful things that users like to keep. It's a manual process, right? So if you go in and manually move one profile to another, depending on how large that profile is, you're looking at several hours worth of work for an admin to do that. You know, administratively, it takes us forever to do it. From the end user's perspective, they don't want it done because it's taking them out of their productivity for so long. And from the customer paying for that solution, they don't want to pay for our time to take that long to do it, right? So that is one of the challenges that was presented while we were working on this implementation. We do have a solution, right? So we ran across this third-party utility called Forenz IT. Anyone that's not familiar with that, feel free to go out to www.forenzit.com and check that solution out. Essentially what it does is it essentially remaps the profile. So in my profile example that took me 2 hours to manually hop a profile from one to the other, it took that time down to less than 10 minutes. So it was able to change the hard links in the registry in the background to switch it over to the new Azure AD profile once you were logged in. Again, it's a pretty good solution, third party, and it's relatively inexpensive. So I think it's less than $100 per technician for unlimited machines. You can license it a couple of different ways. Feel free to check out their website, but it's a great utility that we found that kind of was a game changer for us as far as implementing the new project, or the new identities to the Windows 10 machines on Azure AD. The next issue that we have is group policies, right? So with 20 years, we've been working in small business server that has all these nice wizards that we click through and enable all these local group policies for desktop and power management and mapping drives and all these things. And honestly, right now, as it sits, we don't have, we being the Microsoft 365 business, there is not a GPO replacement solution in place. So there are things in the framework to get some user settings like standardized desktops, wallpapers, power management, those things like that. They are in the works. They will be in the product eventually. They're just not there at this moment. But if you're going through a migration today, those are things you are going to have to manually set on your own. Local resources. So let's just say that you're going through this migration and you've got a file server, right? And you're going through to manually moving to Azure Active Directory. Again, we're in this time where we're having to change our thought process and how these things work. So, 3 years ago, you had everything was on premise, right? So you had an on-premise server, you had your on-premise files and blah, 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 blah. And then they introduced these online apps, right? These SaaS apps where you have a service that provides that, you have an identity for that. So you log into that identity and it uses the credential manager to cache those credentials, and you log in and you change your password when it needs to be changed. With this solution, you have to look at that as a complete flip-flop, right? You want to take all of your online services, and that needs to be your single point of identity. You're logging in with that online service. You're accessing all your Office with all that online service. You're going through and using all those online services, and then you're going to use Credential Manager for any of the local resources that you have. So if you're accessing a local file server, map that drive once you're already in Azure AD to the local file server and just save your credentials in a Credential Manager. That's going to be the easiest solution to kind of get through your transition period of migration to OneDrive, SharePoint, or whatever it may be. And I do know there's some third-party apps that you can't quite get away from yet, so you just use that for those. The last one that we have issues with, or some complications and challenges, is Azure AD Connect. That is a great solution for single username, single password to sync everything up to get everybody in Office 365 and Microsoft 365. Where it causes problems with this particular solution is it shows there are some weaknesses in getting it synced up, right? So you've got two separate password policies, and technically your on-premise password policy is the authority, right? So that's what's running your identity. Well, what happens when that password changes, or you're notified as an end user that your password policy is expiring in 14 days, or that you need to change your password? You can't do that. You do not get that notification because you're not on that local Active Directory. You're not getting that notification. You're not getting the ability to press Control-Alt-Delete and reset your password. That mechanism is not in place today, okay? So if you try to do that, it actually kicks you to the Office 365 or Microsoft admin portal where the user logs in to change password, As soon as you hit change password, it says, yeah, you can't do that. You're using an Active Directory Connect or an AD Sync account. You need to go to your on-premise. So there's a couple little things. So if you have that scenario, the first thing that you could do is the password is going to have to be changed by your admin, right? That's the simple solution. Password needs to be changed. You go to the admin changes it. You move on, right? Everything syncs up. It works great. No issues, no problems. The other option that you have is to actually have to purchase and assign an Azure AD Premium 1 license. With that, if you enable password write back in your AD Connect application, it will work properly. You still won't get the notification that your password requires changing, but what it will do is it will write that password back. When you go to the online, it will allow you to change that password, and when you change it there, it does write it back to the local Active Directory. So you do have those options there with the AD Connect. So yeah, I think that's it. As far as the identity pieces go, I'm going to hand it over to Bhargava to work through some of the Windows deployment.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Bhargava, and I'm the engineering PM on Microsoft 365 Business. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of things. In this section, we will talk about how we can get the devices ready and how we can get them secure to take full advantage of Microsoft 365 Business. Okay? Let's see. Yeah. So let's start with the prerequisites, right? So with Microsoft 365 Business, just to rehash, we can secure both Windows devices as well as mobile devices, iOS and Android devices. As Gabe had alluded earlier on, you require a Pro license to start off with, or it could be an older version of Pro, like 7, 8, or 8.1, and we provide a very easy upgrade path, which I will show you this right now in a couple of slides. But we require you to start off with the Pro license, okay? And for iOS and Android, it has to be iOS 8.0 or later, or Android 4.0 or later. Also, if you have any existing mobile management solutions in place, then we require you to remove those devices from the mobile management solution, because in Microsoft 365 Business, you do get the mobile management solution. You get the ability to secure through MDM and MAM your devices. Okay. So let's see what is required to get your Windows devices ready. We start off with first getting upgraded to Windows 10 Pro Creators Update. Okay, if you're on 7 or 8 or 8.1, I will show you how to get to 10 Pro, and that's the first step. The second step is then connecting the device, Windows 10 device, to AAD, and that's it. That's essentially all you have to do to get the Windows device ready. And under the hood, once these two steps are completed, we automatically activate a new edition of the Windows PC becomes Windows 10 Business. That's a new edition. So that happens automatically, but we recommend that you do a quick check, and I'll show you how you can do a quick check on that. Okay, so let's start off with how you can get your Windows device to the latest bits, the Windows 10 Creators Update bits. So when you log in as an admin onto the admin portal, you see 3 new cards if you have the Microsoft 365 Business subscription. One of those cards is Windows 10 Upgrade card. There are 3 options for you to go from here and get your Windows 10 devices to Windows 10 Business, Windows 10 Creators Update bits. The first one is Install Upgrade. The second one is Share Download Link. And the third one is Create Installation Media. These are 3 different types. We'll kind of go through step by step for each option. On the Windows Creators, in the first option, which is the install upgrade, you click on, you select that option on the admin portal. Then you go to the Microsoft software download site, and there is a download Windows page. So you're taken there, and then right there you have a button that says upgrade now. Now, this option is really good if the device that you're on and the device that you're accessing this portal is the device that you need to upgrade. Because when you say upgrade now, it'll initiate the upgrade on that device itself. Okay? So it's really great if whoever has access to the portal, if that's the device that they need to upgrade right away. The second option is the share download link. This is really good if you have, if the admin doesn't want, can just send an upgrade link to all the users in the tenant, in the organization, and the users can, at their own free time or as per their convenience, can initiate the upgrade and complete it. So when you click on that, essentially you get like an upgrade link in your email, in the admin's email client. Admin can enter all the different users that he needs to send the upgrade to, and they can initiate the upgrade on their own time. The third option is create installation media. Here, same thing, when you click on it, you go back to the same Windows software download page, but you have a different option here where you can create an installation media for yourself. Now, this is really good if you don't want to install it on your own device, but you have other devices which you're not using right now, but that's where you want to get those devices upgraded. So you get your, you click on this and then follow the path to create like a USB image, ISO file, and then you can go in and deploy it to multiple Windows devices, one after the other. So no matter which way you take, the upgrade path, as you can see, is a couple of clicks away, and it takes about 15-20 minutes for you to complete the upgrade, but we need you to step up, or we need the devices to be stepped up to the latest version of the Windows 10 Creators Update. Now, once you create that, this is the step one of this two-step process we talked about. You have to be on the latest Creators Update. The next one is AAD Connect. Now, to join your device to AAD, again, there are two scenarios. One scenario is if you are already on Windows 10 Creators Update, and then you acquired Microsoft 365, which is like the existing device scenario, or this is a new device scenario, as in the device is completely new and you're just popping it open for the first time. Now, when you do that and you do the device setup, as you go through the keyboard selection, language, region selection, and so on, one of the screens you see is how would you like to set up your device. And this is where you should choose the set up the device for organization. And that's essentially all you have to do. Once you click that, what happens is it presents you a login screen for your organization credentials. This is your Microsoft 365 Business username and password. So when you enter the username and password, the end user enters the username and password. This is post the Windows 10 Creators upgrade. Then immediately the device gets joined to the AAD in the back end. Okay? So as you completed the device setup, the device is now joined to the AAD. How do you know it is joined to the AAD? The way you can quickly verify that it's joined to AAD is you go to Settings, go to Accounts. There is an option there called Access Work or School. You click on it, and you will see right underneath that the device has been joined with a little briefcase icon in there. Okay? That means now, from the cloud, your device is now prepped. The cloud's aware of your device. It's registered. Now we can manage the device, or admin can manage the device from a browser sitting anywhere in the world. Now these two steps are complete. Without you having to do anything extra, under the hood, it automatically upgrades or updates the machine state. It activates it as Windows 10 Business. So you can go to, again, System, and you can go to the About the Machine. You will see under the Edition, you will see it as Windows 10 Business. This is something that we have introduced new as Microsoft 365 Business. And we need the device to be in this state for us to get the rest of the features and the features that I'm going to talk about. So this is the flow path if you have a completely new device. Now let's say you already have a Windows 10 device that's been on, that has the Creators Update, and now you've secured the subscription or the license. Now at this point, all you need to do is just attach the device, just join the device to AAD. How do you do it? You go to System Settings, again, go into Accounts, and then in Accounts, you see Access Worker School option. Here you'll notice that the device has not been joined to AAD yet, which is where you see the Connect as an option, but nothing underneath that. Click on Connect. Connect opens a larger dialog box. Now there are a couple of different options presented here. Choose the one which is under the alternate actions. It says join your device to Azure Active Directory. At this point, you just put in your username, the organization username, and password, and then you're done. So now the device has been joined to AAD again. We recommend that you do a simple verification. Make sure that it's upgraded to Windows 10 Business as well. Okay? So these are the steps that are required for us to get a one-time setup to make sure that your device is now hooked up to the cloud, hooked up to AAD, and gets managed from there. Now, I want to talk about a new feature we call Windows Information Protection. Now, what is Windows Information Protection? Basically, we want to secure data on your Windows device, Office data on your Windows device. That's essentially what we're trying to do. What we're trying to help the admins, the small business admins, to ensure security of their data. Now, there are different scenarios in here, right? A lot of times, the device, the Windows device, could be owned and managed by the company. And in some cases, people use their personal devices, which maybe they have a device that other members of the family will use, and so on and so forth. But they also would like to connect to work, check their email, or it's a weekend and your boss calls and says, hey, please make sure you respond to this email quickly or what have you, and you need to be able to connect to work email from your home machine. So in those scenarios, we want to give the ability for the admins to secure work data on users' personal devices as well as companies' devices. This is the Windows Information Protection feature. This is what it does. So how do you make it happen? The way you do it is, I think Jim was showing in the video earlier on, there is an option to create policies. So you go onto the dashboard, admin portal, you click on device policies, and you create a new policy type. It's all kind of self-explanatory. It's nothing rocket science there. We've tried to make it really, really simple. So you just go create a new policy. The policy is application management for Windows. That's the name of the policy type. And in that, you have an option of classifying the policy either as a device for device or it's for company, right? And then those are the two controls. And then there are 5 controls that, it's a little bit more than 5, but really 5 groups or 5 things that I like to say as the keys or the things that the admin has to secure data. The first one is encrypt work files, right? So this is a very, very critical part of information protection, because when people access work files at home, it's very easy for that data to leak, right? So Windows Information Protection ensures the data is encrypted, and it's always turned on, right? So people can't unencrypt, or people can't skip this step. The second one is access. What kind of access controls, restraints do you want to provide as admin for people to access the data on those Windows devices? You can set a password. You can specify how many times the password can be, if there is a password failure, how many times it needs to be. You can let that happen, or you can, how long it should take before you reset the password, and so on. So these are typical access control policies. You also, the other control that you also want to provide is you don't want people to be able to go and copy data from Office or from your email into their personal locations. So you have a set of controls for that as well, where let's say you have a customer list, and one of your employees who may be deciding to leave the company just can't go there and then copy all of the customer list into their personal location. So what this does is it enables you to copy and paste only through only into the Enlightened apps or the Office apps, which is from Word to Excel or email to Word or what have you, but not to your personal apps. Or save work files, or save, like you send an email with an attachment which contains your budget or your customer list, and you can't save that into your personal drive or like a personal cloud directory. The other one that is very critical is this is an option where the admin can upload a DRA key. Now, why is this important? The reason this is important is when you have saved all the files and encrypted them on those Windows devices, and let's say the employee decides to move or leave. Now you have a bunch of data that you need to recover, which is critical for your company, but it's all in encrypted format, and you don't have the key to unencrypt it or decrypt it. So by uploading a generic DRA key that the admin provides, you have an option of recovering the data that's been encrypted on the Windows device of the employee. And finally, you also have an option to specify multiple SharePoint locations where you may have other work data. The primary one is already protected, but if you have any additional SharePoint locations where you have other work files, then those can also be listed out here. So the data in all of these locations is automatically encrypted, and the same kind of access control and other stuff is still enforced there. Okay? Okay, next, the next feature I want to talk about is Office deployment. So what is this feature? What is this feature really about? So one of the things we want to do is really simplify the deployment and manage and making sure the Office apps are up to date. You want to keep that, make it extremely, extremely simple for our administrators, right? So what we are going to do, or what the feature does is, as soon as you have your Windows 10 devices in the Windows 10 business state, on the admin portal, either in the setup wizard, which we saw in the video, or in the policies card, the admin can elect and say, go and deploy Office to these users. That's all that needs to be done. When the admin elects to do that, which I will show in a slide, a couple of slides down. When the admin elects to do that, we, on the Windows device, on the Windows 10 business device, a full suite of Office apps, 32-bit Office client apps get downloaded and installed automatically. Okay, they're always up to date, and the mechanism we use is click to run to download that. The subscription license for this is the Business Retail, which comes with the standard Business Premium. If you're familiar with that, with Business Premium, you get Business Retail package. It's the same package that you get with Microsoft 365 Business as well. What is not included here is you don't have the easy option to go in and install 64-bit client apps. Or if you want the MSI version of the standalones, those things you cannot select that. Because this uses the click-to-run technology, and we don't provide an easy mechanism to do that. We find that happens, but it's not very common. And if you guys think if you have some feedback on what should be included more, we're obviously certainly willing to listen and love to kind of know more about it. It also does not install Skype or Teams automatically. We've talked about the prerequisites. It's essentially the Windows 10 device needs to be on Windows 10 business activation state, which implies Procreate to Update, AAD join, and Microsoft 365 business license. So some of the steps or some of the guidance, some of the things you could do to ensure that this happens without any hitches is, if you have 64-bit client apps, might be worthwhile for you to see if you really need that, and if not, if you uninstall it, then the 32-bit client apps gets installed automatically. If you leave 64-bit apps, then the install doesn't happen. Or if you have an older version of MSI, then we install side by side, which is, in a lot of times, we actually find that to be the recommended approach for the users, because then they have an easier migration from the old version to the new version. Okay, and as I said, the way to initiate or invoke the feature is on the device actions card, select Manage Office Deployment, and you can select which user group you want to deploy this to, and either install or uninstall. And essentially, once you do a submit, it's done in the background, and it's done silently. Now let's see, how does it work really? The way it works is, once the admin configures or elects to deploy this, and upon a device getting into Windows 10 business state, Intune pushes a signal through, it's an MDM policy that gets pushed from Intune onto the device. And the device, there is a piece of code on the Windows client which gets activated. It's called Office CSP, and that Office CSP, Windows pushes not only the MDM policy, it also pushes the config file with it. Now the Office CSP, which is the Windows client code, takes the config file and invokes ODT, offline deployment tool, downloads offline deployment tool, and passes the config and starts executing that. And then from then on, Office deployment tool does what it does, which is go ahead and install all the client apps in there. All of this happens in the background, no additional steps, user intervention, nothing is required. As soon as the Windows device is attached, it happens automatically behind the scenes. So the goal is really to make it really simple and easy for admins to deploy and manage Office bits on the machine. So those are the things that I'm here to talk about. Now I'm going to hand off to Josh for some demos and other details.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So let's talk about how we manage this a little bit more in a little bit more of an advanced way. One of the things that we wanted to make sure we kind of incorporated into today was, Barbara was showing us how to get these Windows devices in and how to get Office on and things like that. We have a little short video from Jim at TransBlue that kind of gives us an overview on how to add these devices, how to add your mobile devices, right, to the platform and how to get them managed. So let's check this video out real quick.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm the Director of IT at TransBlue. I've been using Microsoft 365 Business, and I want to show you how your users get set up with their mobile devices and how you can easily remove the company data once your employee leaves the organization. When your end user adds their account to the Outlook mobile app, they will be notified that the company is protecting its data on the mobile device and will require the user to restart the app. Once they reopen the Outlook app, they will be prompted to select a PIN. Then moving forward, when they open the Outlook app, it will prompt them for the PIN or fingerprint if they have that configured. The same experience will occur on any enlightened Office app, such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Enforcing the policies on all the Office mobile apps will ensure that your company's data is protected. Now, when one of your employees loses their device or leaves the company, it's really easy to go in and remove the company data from the device. Let me show you how to do this. When you log into the admin console, go to the devices card on the home page. You can search for the user to find all their devices. Select the device and click Remove Company Data. The end user will get notified that the company data is being removed when they log into the Office app. The best part about this is your end user will keep their personal data, including pictures and text messages. There will be no disruption to their personal device. Now, when you click on the user's Windows 10 PC, you can choose to either do a full factory reset or just remove the company data from the device. If you have backed up the user's files, or they are stored on OneDrive for Business, you can select Factory Reset and repurpose the device for another user. If your user is working from a personal device, you can select to remove company data to just remove your files from the device. The beauty of Microsoft 365 Business is that it gives you peace of mind that your company data is protected and will enable your employees to be productive anywhere they are. Thank you for watching, and get started with Microsoft 365 Business today.
So one of my favorite things about that video and the mobile device management piece is it truly, truly, truly is as simple as that video. You add the user to the Outlook app, boom, it's all there, shows up, you have full management capabilities that are in the product. So that I really do like quite a bit from the technical side. All right, so there's a few things that we want to demo for you guys. The first thing I want to show is how do you manage those groups, right? So we want to show kind of a compare and contrast against a couple of these things to kind of show you the difference, right? So let me flip over here. Okay, so for those of you that are not aware with or haven't seen the Microsoft 365 Business, this is the same console, right? So the Microsoft Admin Center that you use with Office 365 is essentially the same. You do have a couple of additional cards here. You've got your Windows 10 upgrade, Office software, device actions, and device policies. So those are a few extra cards that you have that are for the M365 that kind of give you the management capabilities. One of the things I wanted to show, because it's not really in the card, is the groups. So if you come over here to the left, you've got groups, and then you've got another group option here. You would want to create a group if you wanted a different, I think you used it in the first example, you have a C level that wants to do that. And it's pretty simple. You know, you just add a group and, you know, you select that you want a new security group and, you know, fairly simple. You want a sales group here. You add that and it adds in, right? We're good to go. That's pretty simple, straightforward. You now have this sales group here. So what is it doing in the background, right? So everything that's in this console it's on the back end, it's all Azure, right? So we've talked about Azure AD and we've talked about Intune and things like that. So if you have the login, the same admin login for your tenant there, you have a login to the Azure portal. Now, full disclosure, in the Azure portal, and Gabe has to keep me straight to make sure that this is correct, okay? Inside the Azure portal, you only want to adjust settings that originate from the Office 365 portal, right? You're going to see options in here for Intune and for Azure Active Directory that you need to make sure that you read your terms and licenses, the terms and conditions, to make sure that you are properly licensed to use those features, right? So for example, you may see something in Intune that's like, hey, this looks pretty cool. But if you can't make that adjustment in the Office, the Microsoft admin portal, then you more than likely aren't licensed for it. So just full disclosure there before we get into this. So if we go back and think about our groups, right? So let's look at Azure Active Directory. So as you could see from an admin or a small business, the users and groups that I was just at in the other console is much less robust, and it's much less daunting of a thing to try to get into. But if I want to go into my groups here, obviously I can keep digging into all groups, and I'll find my sales group that I created right here a few minutes ago, right? It's all there, it's connected, and works together. One thing that did not, I want to kind of circle back just a hair, back to my identity piece I was talking about a minute ago. One of the things that we found out so recently that we weren't able to make it in the deck, but I wanted to share with you guys, is single sign-on, right? So the ability, some of the features with Azure AD Premium, single sign-on apps being one of those, has now been added to the product, right? So you do have that ability now with the M365 business license. So if you want single sign-on with Salesforce or DocuSign, one of those companies like that, obviously you can configure that now and you are licensed for that. So where do you find it? I know I had my caveat a minute ago about if it's not in the office portal, then you can't do it. Well, this is kind of one of those exceptions to the rule because they exist everywhere, right? So anyways, if I come down here to back to my Azure Active Directory, I've got this wonderful tab here called Enterprise Applications. So if I go Enterprise Applications, New Application, you see there's 2,891 different single sign-on apps that are available to add. And for example, if we want to add DocuSign to our tenant, I click DocuSign. It already has all the information in here because Microsoft's already added it. It has all the information. It's added. Now that app is a single sign-on app for me, available in my tenant for me to add. So I was pretty pleased to hear that this was added recently. So another thing another big value add for the end users. So what else do we have here? We've got policies, right? So we created our group. We'll go back to our home screen here. We've got policies, right? So I want to create a new policy for my sales group, right? We kind of saw this a little bit in a demo. Just to show you that it is as easy as it is, let's just say that I want my sales group, I want to have an iOS policy for those guys. And let's just say I want to select the template here for iOS. And I want that to go away. Okay. I want to protect my work, the device if it's lost or stolen. Yes, I definitely want to do that. And then I've got these drop downs here that I can kind of dig in a little bit. And maybe I want to allow the sales guys, because those guys get kind of creative sometimes. This is definitely not a very good use case, but let's just say we want them to be able to download their stuff to their personal device, right? They have a sales meeting or something and they have to do that. I can turn that off for that group. So when I turn that off, I can come down here. By default, the group that's always being used is the all user group. We would just come here, change this to our sales group, uncheck all users, select and save and add. That's going to create that app policy for me, okay? So that is one of the things that I think is pretty easy. Now, what is it doing under the hood, right? So what all policies is that adding and changing? If I come here to back to my Azure dashboard and I go to Intune App Policies, and I go to this app policy button here, you see where it's created my iOS sales policy, right? It's here, right? It's everything's there. So as I dig in a little bit more, I can actually continue to dig in and look at different things inside the portal. I'm looking for app settings, right? So what is me checking those couple of toggle switches? What is it really doing, right? So if you go through this list of options here, as you see here, this prevent save as is selected to yes, right? So I'm not allowing to save that app to something else. This is the nuts and bolts that what makes those few little check boxes from the Microsoft portal so much easier from an end user perspective or for an admin perspective for a group of users. Honestly, going through all these settings can be a daunting task, and your enterprise level guys are doing this every day, but for most small, medium business, this portal with these settings are going to cover about 99% of their need, right? Especially when it comes to the policies for the applications. So why else do we need to go into the Azure portal? So let's say that we have a user. Let's go into our devices, right? And I've got a couple of devices in here. This desktop here, right? And let's just say that this user's left the company and they walked out and they're never coming back, and we've let them go or whatever. Or that they've left their device in a cab or a train or something. So how do we know that if we do a factory reset from here, or we do a remove company data, how do we know that it actually is working, right? If you click that button in this portal here, it's going to say, yep, we're going to do it. Good college try, right? Because it's not going to show you, like, did it do it? Did it not? You know, where do you see that at? So if you flip over here, back into the Intune console, and I go to devices. All devices. You see here, I had hit the white button on one of the devices earlier today, right? That device I know is in my hotel room. It's not on. So that is the reason why it says wipe pending. I know for a fact as soon as that machine comes back on and it checks back in with Intune, it's going to say wipe complete if it completes it properly. I now know, I have visual confirmation here that that wipe did happen and that company data is gone. I also will tell you from testing the wipe, the factory reset option, excuse me, on a Windows device, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes. Very quick. You click the button and within just a matter of a couple of minutes, boom, it's reset. It's rebooting back into resetting everything. It's very fast, very efficient to get that done. So I wanted to make sure you guys could see where you could actually see this device wipe feature to make sure that was happening. Another option that we have is back here at the Intune main page here on the overview page, you've got options here for device compliance. So nowhere in the Office 365 portal, we've got this in here, in this admin portal, there's nowhere in here to specify and say, well, do all my devices, are they in here, right? Or are they getting all the policies? Are they all working? Are they, are they compliant with all the new policies? Or I've made adjustments to those policies. Are they correct? Are they working properly? The only thing I have in here is I can go to, to my devices and I can see the list of devices and the last time they've checked in. Doesn't really tell me a whole lot. So me as an admin, if I want to make sure that a policy that I push out makes it to a device, this is where I'm going to have to go, right? I can see here, luckily everything I have now is compliant and up to date, so I'm good to go. But if not, I would be able to drill in. I can go into these charts and select these options and say, well, what device is not compliant? What am I missing? Which ones do I need to talk to? Who do I need to adjust? What machines do I need to go talk to? So that's, for me, is another piece that is very important in this puzzle of being able to manage all these different machines. Another piece that I didn't make in the slide deck either, but I think is very valuable information, is the device sync intervals, right? So when you add your device to Azure Active Directory, how often does it check in, right? The device will check in every 8 hours on its own, right? So if you have a machine that's sitting there, as soon as it's on, every 8 hours, it's going to call back into Intune, say, hey, do you have any changes? Is there anything I need to adjust or need new policies or anything like that? And if it does, it will update it and everything will be good. If you make an adjustment from the console itself, it's about a 45-minute turnaround to actually deploy that to the device, right? So your first scenario of your 8 hours is if the machine's off, right? And it turns on, and it's going to come on. If it's been 8 hours, it's going to call in. But if you're making adjustments to those policies, it's going to push it every 45 minutes. So you make a change, push, 45 minutes, it's good. One of the other things that I think is a pretty neat feature here as well is you can also force inside, this is where Barger was talking about a little while ago. I've got my Azure AD here. I've got this sync button right here. So if I go into work and accounts, I'm testing policies as an admin, right? And I want to make sure that this device gets this policy. I go in and make the adjustments. I give it a few minutes because you know it's Azure. It's a big infrastructure. It's got to replicate across. And then I can come here and manually sync this to kind of say, hey, go get any new policies that are out there. So I do have this sync button that's, kind of think of it as GP update force for the old AD infrastructure. So one of the last things that I want to show you guys is one of the things that we ran into during implementation was how do you whitelist different Windows Defender, either URLs or file extensions, things like that. How do you make those adjustments, right? And this is kind of the first piece that kind of led me into the Intune portal, right? Because, you know, as an MSP, we do have a lot of customers that need, you know, custom whitelist actions. So if I go to, under Intune, I go to device configuration. There's profiles. Now this profile here, device policy for Windows 10. If I come over here and look in this portal, I'll flip back over to my device policies here. I see that's here, right? Device policy for Windows 10. It matches, right? So everything is in here. Is that 7 settings? 7 settings. So there's when you run this, there's 7 settings that typically are options to run inside here. So if I click on this particular profile here, it also gives me kind of some rundowns on, you know, my compliance and whatnot, again, for this particular app policy. And I've hit properties. I see this settings here. So on my particular policy, I've got 5 of these settings set. Now, if I expand this out, the disclosure thing about the whole Intune, this is where this kind of comes into play, right? So you're going to see quite a few things here that, whoops, that popped out too quick. So if I go settings here, or my settings says I have 5 configured. If I scroll down in this list, Windows Defender antivirus exclusions, right? So this is where I would go to have to do that. So if I have any exclusions I want to make, I really kind of have to dig in pretty deep to get down to where that actually is. Now, we have worked with the Microsoft guys on trying to surface some of this stuff out, and hopefully that's in the works, especially for these particular settings here. Just kind of keeps one level of complexity out. But you do have to kind of dig in for this particular setting to do that. Also, if you want to, as far as that's concerned with AV, excuse me here, let me go back there. Kick me out. Yeah, this is why we put it in the Office portal. So if I go to my Windows Defender antivirus, it says there's 3 of 25 settings. If you want to customize when scans run, when engines update, things like that, this is another place that you may possibly want to go to and see to check out kind of some of those. I mean, there's some pretty good things here about, you know, regulations for, you know, resource utilization and things like that in here, which is kind of some cool stuff in digging into the AV. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I have as far as the demos are concerned, for, you know, kind of digging in on some of the more frequently used apps for M365 Business. So one of the things that I want to talk about real quick, I kind of jumped around in my slides, so I apologize. So this particular slide here, what does this mean, right? So if you are currently in a local Active Directory scenario, right, you're already there and you're trying to get to Azure AD, you know, this kind of brings back together our profile scenario that we had a little while ago. But it also has to do with where your machines are being managed at. If I take a machine that's local AD joined, This is the process I'm going to have to take. Helicopter level, I've got to take it and I've got to join it to the work group. When I join it to the work group, then I got to join it to Azure AD. You're going to lose each step of this process. You're going to lose different management features and being able to control that machine as you go. There is not a great way to do this. There isn't a way that I'm aware of to do this in an automated way. This is very manual. This is the part that has to be stepped through every single way. Yes, sir. Yes, they did say that. So what that kind of relates to is they're saying creator update or the RS4 is where that's slotted to go right now. We don't even have an official date on that. If you go today, this is what you have to do. There is no coexistence between local AD and Azure AD. So if this is something that you're thinking about, it may be worth a little bit of a wait till that goes through. But regardless, when you team this scenario and this process with the Forenz IT tool, it really does take a lot of that management piece out. It's a really great tool to kind of team together with this. So, this is just kind of like I said, a helicopter level of how that all works. This is just, like I said, I kind of jumped ahead a few minutes ago when looking at my slides when I was actually doing the actual demos themselves about why you want to go into Windows Defender and look at reports and compliance and some of the device wipe features. So that's it for me. I'll hand it back over to Gabe. Let him finish out.
Cool. Thank you very much, sir.
Yep.
All right. So I want to just quickly clarify on a couple of things Josh talked about. So he showed you guys really some under the cover stuff, and I like, he had to click, 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 click. Like the reason why we built Microsoft 365 Business and why all of these capabilities are now in the admin portal is because click, 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 right? It takes forever to be able to get in there to be able to configure this. And so we wanted to be able to, for our small businesses, create a simple interface that can help manage those policies. He also talked a little bit around this single sign-on piece. Absolutely right. You have to go into the Azure portal on the back end to be able to configure that today. We are working, it is in the roadmap to be able to surface that, enable that within that Office admin portal so that our small business owners, very simple and easy to be able to configure that, okay? One of the cool things he said, 2,891 or something like that? Different apps. The top 10 apps, so you'll just have 10 of them will show up in the app launcher. So if you have 20 apps, only 10 will show, but you'll still be able to do single sign-on with those 20 apps if you have them configured. So kind of cool stuff there. Now, I wanted to land on this. I told you guys, hey, you guys can get started with the public preview today. We are going to go to general availability later this year. So sign up for that public preview at that first link. All of the instructions for how to deploy, so all of the stuff that Bhargav was talking about with upgrading Windows 10, joining device to Azure Active Directory, all that is in the deployment guide. So we put all of our documentation, and I will tell you that we are being very fanatical about the quality of our documentation. So if on any of those pages it doesn't give you what you need, scroll to the bottom where it says, hey, was this helpful? Click no and type in, hey, this was missing. That goes to our document writers. We would love your feedback because we really want to make this documentation great for you guys, okay? And then the last piece is just the website, right? So you can check out the website if you want to think about, what's in it, how we are talking about it. And if you are one of our Microsoft partners, I think that we have even more resources for you. And I think we're talking a little bit about that on Wednesday around, is this solution right for you? So we're going to talk a little bit about licensing. We're going to talk about, hey, why are we building this solution? How do we think about it? A little bit expansion of Satya's vision for Microsoft 365 and our vision for Microsoft 365 Business. With that, I will just say, oh, we're supposed to have an eval slide here. So go into your app, please, and evaluate the session. I would say thank you so much for joining us. And I see some people have left That's because as we went through, they were like, okay, I got what I need, or yeah, I need Microsoft 365 Enterprise, so they're gonna go find an Enterprise session to go to. So thank you guys for sticking around. We're really glad that you guys could come, and these guys are here for any questions, and we'll be down at the Expo Hall in the Modern Workplace. I think it's the bottom back left corner. That's where we'll be hanging out for the rest of the afternoon. Thanks, guys.